I want to tap into something which I reckon would come up more often than anything else in partnership conversations where you've got couples in business, and that's money. The thing that causes the most stress and ultimately leads to divorces and those sorts of things is mostly often around finances. We also know that that's the same sort of thing that causes stress in a business. So a differing view on finances at home and at work, how do we navigate that?
If you're emotionally exhausted,
Right.
talking about money that's not the time. If you've had a really rough day at work or you've had to let somebody go in the office or something like that, that's not the time to talk about money.
You got to pick a right time. Understanding the emotional state of your partner at the time you want to have that conversation. When can we lock that conversation in? It's about when.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast. This is the podcast for couples in business. So whether you are a married couple, whether you're husband and wife, whether you're business partners, whether you're friends, whether you're family members, as a couple in business, you face a whole range of issues that non-couples in business don't face. And the purpose of this podcast is to help you to understand that. It's to help you to strengthen communication, to work harder, not smarter, to notice and respond to fatigue, to understand each other, to get on the same page, to make sure the team aren't playing mum and dad, to build confidence together, and to create a really supportive and accountable system so that you can lead with both clarity and trust. And as always, joining me in the chair, speaking of couples, is my couple, Caroline Rockman.
Hello. I really have to dob you in because I think it's funny. This is take 2 of this episode.
It is.
Somebody forgot to push record.
I did forget.
So things aren't always perfect, but it's always good fun.
100%. So we're going to kick off a whole new series. And this series really is about strengthening communication because we spoke before about, couples in business, that they face some pretty unique challenges, right?
Yep.
And, everybody in business has stress of some sort. And we know that stress bleeds. So if you're under stress at home, it bleeds into work. If you're under stress at home, it bleeds into work. You can't help it. But what if your relationship is one and the same? So in other words, your home relationship is almost the same as your work relationship. Then you've got massive bleeding into each other, haven't you?
Yeah. It can be more complicated because there is the complexities of having that finance element, the business element, and the personal element. Because you're in business together, if the finance isn't right, then the stress is held there. It's a one port.
Yeah, 100%. Let's be clear. We've been navigating this for 15 plus years now, and we're not divorced, and we haven't broken up as business partners. So we're really doing something right. So we've really worked through most of those things. We navigate our way, and that's really what we want to do now, is to help other couples in business, whether it's family members or partners, life partners. We want to help them to navigate and move past the issues with the experience that we've got and the things that we can share. In this series, we want to kick off with sort of how do you make it easier to communicate? Because if I was to look at all of the businesses that I've consulted with over the last 25 odd years, I would say if somebody said to me, pick one issue that you see almost everywhere, it would be communication.
Always. One element I think that's always really important is to focus on the task in the communication as opposed to the emotion in the communication, because we both have different things that are important to us because we're working on different roles in the business. We both have our own lane. Yep. And there's always those emotional goals that we go through in that process. So it's a bit of sharing the task without sharing the emotion.
So that's right. But I guess the contra to that would be, or the contrary to that, would be that sometimes talking business actually misses really important emotional cues. So yeah, absolutely, you've got to be focused on task. Like if every conversation you go into as life partners and business partners is all around the emotions, and if we have a business conversation around whatever it might be, somebody's performance in the business or performance of a marketing campaign, and I bring up that I made the bed this morning for the 10th time and you didn't, for example, right? No, you actually made the bed this morning, but you know what I mean? Like, it's something simple like that can really derail a conversation, can't it? And you can get caught up in the emotional aspect of it. But what about, for example, if we're talking about emotions, what if, say, you're in go mode and I'm kind of in need of some validation? So we are at a different emotional place. So whilst we have to be careful not to bring that emotional in, we also have to be careful to make sure that we are aware of each other's emotional state, don't we?
Yes, you do. I think I'm probably more of an emotional person. I'm the one that cries on MasterChef as opposed to you who just rolls your eyes just thinking, oh, that food looks yummy. But I think I'm more of an emotional, creative thinker. You're more of a big picture thinker. Yep. So that's where the balance comes in really well. And we both know what our strengths are with that and what the buttons are with those.
Yep. So if you're going to have, I mean, I think if we talk about some of the things that you can look at, I mean, you know, one of these, you know, transactional versus relational communication, for example, we sort of go, well, hang on a second. Is this a transactional communication, which is just really simple? It's about the who, the what, the why, the where, and the how, right? Dead simple. Or is this actually a relational communication, which is now more about, well, how do we feel about this and how do we support each other? And I just think it's vitally important that you have the ability to have both of those, but not necessarily at the same time.
Yes, I think with those, yes, you do have to have the how, what, when, the actual factual things, but there is always an emotional, you know, alignment behind that. And I know that when we sort of have something that we need to specifically work on, you look at the task as a fact, essentially, and then we look at the purpose of the why, which always brings in it. Why are we doing what we're doing? They're the values that we want to portray in the what and the how. And I think that makes it easier to get through things without getting too emotionally caught up.
So we'll get to some tools, because there's some tools we can use, like a weekly relationship check-in, if you like. And that's not just a, you know, how you doing, but a genuine weekly relationship check-in around how your partner's operating. And then we can talk about some other things like reflective listening and all that. We'll get to that in this episode. So we're actually going to give you guys some tools that you can take away and apply. But I want to tap into something which I reckon would come up more often than anything else in partnership conversations where you've got couples in business, and that's money. So where you've got, say, one partner that says, I want to go and take out some TV ads, and the other partner says, we can't afford it, right? Because that's common, right?
100%, yeah.
And we know that in interpersonal relationships, that the thing that causes the most stress and ultimately leads to divorces and those sorts of things is mostly often around finances. We also know that that's the same sort of thing that causes stress in a business. So if you've got financial stress, or not even stress, a differing view on finances at home and at work, man, that's like bang, double whammy, isn't it?
Double whammy.
Yep. So how do we navigate that? So let's say I came to you and said, hey, I want to take out $50,000 worth of TV advertising, and you go, well, we can't afford that. Now there's an impasse, right?
Yeah.
And me going, I want to, and you going, we can't, and me going, I want to, and you going, we can't, is not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah, that's really funny that you said that. I was having a chat to our accountant the other day, and, you know, you're very much a big picture thinker, and I'm more of a detailed thinker, being in the medium term down to the short term. And I said to the accountant, I said, sometimes I really think that Mark's just in bloody la-la land. He's not seeing that, you know, there's these land tax bills and, you know, rates bills and all these other bills that are coming up. And it frustrates the hell out of me. But you're like, oh, that's okay. It'll be fine.
Well, that's true.
And it will be fine, but in the here and now, you're just going to go, oh.
That's true. And I don't want to do a couple thing and have an argument with you on a podcast. But I think that's a little unfair on the basis that, for me, so the way you look at that is you go, okay, we got these bills we got to pay. And the way I look at it goes, okay, well, let's just go make more money.
That's right, yeah.
Right? So you'll go, okay, this is what we've got and this is what we need to do. And my answer is, no, that's what we've got and this is what we need to do. So, you know, bugger that, let's just go make more money. Let's find a way to, and that's kind of how we've scaled our business over time, isn't it? Right?
Yep.
And it's been good because you've been the handbrake when it's necessary. And then I've been the sort of, the thrust forward when it's necessary. And sometimes we
I was going to say we swap roles a little bit there. So when it's time to hustle or push the accelerator and make you work harder.
You're very good at making me work harder. But let's talk about that. So, we've got somebody listening to the program now who is a couple in business, and they're going, oh man, that's me. Like, my husband came home the other day and said, I want to buy a new truck. And I just go, we can't afford it. He goes, oh, but I really want a truck. But it's really about a number of things. One, you got to find the right time to have that conversation, right? That conversation is not...
That's the when.
Right. So it's not had at the dinner table.
No.
It's not had while you're visiting your parents or your auntie or your cousin or your kids, or, watching your kids play sport, or visiting family or whatever, visiting parent. Right? It's not happened then.
No. And not when you're emotionally tired. If you're emotionally exhausted,
right,
talking about money that's not the time. If you've had a really rough day at work, or, you've had to let somebody go in the office or something like that, that's not the time to talk about money.
Yeah, although I sometimes find that's the best time because it's when you're at your weakest. And I'll probably get a yes out of you.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
So the concept is, right, you got to pick a right time.
Yep.
It's not across the dinner table. For God's sake, it is not in bed at night, right? Or first thing in the morning. Yeah. It's not.
No. Don't
let your bedroom turn into a meeting room. Don't let your dining room or your kitchen table turn into a boardroom table, right? They're the sort of things that we talk about and teach. So number one, I think, is about picking the right time. Number two is understanding, as you said, the emotional state of your partner at the time you want to have that conversation. So maybe it's about going, hey, we need to have a conversation about something that I would like to do in the business that's going to cost money. When can we lock that conversation in? So it's about when.
Yep.
I also think it's about painting the picture and telling the story. So if I said to you, I wanted to go and do $50,000 worth of TV advertising, the way that I would bring you on board with that would be to say to you, this is what it's going to cost over this period of time. This is the return on the investment. This is the ROI. This is the COI, the cost of inaction. And actually putting it together as if you were presenting it to a business partner, not to your life partner.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that falls into a respect thing as well, because, you go off and if someone just goes off on their little tangent just to achieve something that they want to achieve, and it's not aligning with, the other lane in the pool, then it's not going to work. You're going to have, waves, and that's not what you want.
Yep. And so we said that at the beginning of this, that we'd talk about some sort of tools that you can use. So if you're going in to have communication with a business partner and you want to make it better, I think the tools are pretty simple. It's, number one, be really clear about what it is that you want to achieve. What's the outcome you want? Number two is pick the timing. Number three, just be conscious of the emotional state.
Yep.
I mean, if we use an example where I've just got home, I've worked back, I've stopped in at the grocery store on the way home, I've got 2 arms full of groceries, I'm trying to open the door with my nose, and as I walk through the door, you go, listen, I just wanted to talk to you about, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
So it's very much about time and place. And then I think it's also about preparation. And if you want to understand your partner's emotional state and you can prepare for it, then I could say to you, listen, can we have a chat about that on Monday morning at 10 o'clock? Which, by the way, is when we have a scheduled meeting.
Yes.
And that, I think, is vitally important.
Yeah.
You've got to have structure.
That falls into the communication. If you don't have that communication, lock that in and be disciplined enough to do that. Don't. And it's really easy to overbook yourself and dismiss that. You need to treat those meetings like you've got a meeting at the doctor's or a meeting with your solicitor, whatever it might be.
Yep, 100%. So I always think that, we often say, okay, so I go see a dermatologist, right, to get skin cancer checks every year. I got to book 8 months in advance. If on the day that I had that booking, because I booked it 8 months in advance, you said to me, oh, can we have a chat about our marketing budget instead of you going to that appointment? I'm going to go, nope. Right? Correct?
Correct.
So I would treat that. So what you've got to do is treat the times that you have set aside to talk to each other with the same kind of discipline. No, that's locked in. That's not flexible. It's not negotiable, is what I'm looking for.
Yep.
All right. So we're talking about how to have better communication. Number one, focus on the task.
Yep.
Be aware of feelings, though.
Yes.
Think about the transaction, which is the simple facts. Put them together. But then also think about it from a relational point of view. How are you going to put this message across, and how are you going to support each other in the decision-making process?
Yep.
If you want to put something to someone, if you want to put a proposal, for example, to your business partner, and you think there's going to be some disagreement on it, pick your time, pick your place, and kind of put it together like it's a proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the way you speak to your business partner, yes, you can have rough conversations and those sorts of things, but you should always talk to your business partner the way you would talk to a staff member or somebody else, a higher management part of your business. Lose that respect in the communication style, and I think that isn't going to do you any favors.
Yeah, respect is an enormous part. And I think it's sometimes where that respect can not get lost, but get kind of waylaid a little bit, is if we start doing the things we spoke about at the very beginning, where you're mixing kind of what's going on at home with what's going on at work.
Yep.
Right. So you got to draw those kind of clear boundaries. And I reckon one of the best ways of having those boundaries is, one of the things we have is rules around how much work talk we have at home.
Yep.
Do you know? And in fact, you or I will ask each other for permission to talk about a work topic. Hey, can I just ask you a work question for a minute? And sometimes I'll go, yep. And sometimes I go, absolutely not. Sunday afternoon, definitely not. We ain't talking any work.
Yeah, you're just difficult. A business question, the football. I would have thought a business question would have been more important.
No, I know where it is. And I think that the last little tool that we can talk about is, you spoke about reflective responses, Caroline. Talk to me about reflective responses.
Yeah, sure. That's when you sort of, for an example is one, if I'm feeling like I'm carrying the workload and you're more focused on the strategy, you sort of, the way to reflect on that is, so what I'm hearing from you is this, but what is actually happening is this. You just sort of, you're reflecting on it. You're saying the same thing, but you're just communicating it a lot differently.
Well, I think you're reflecting and clarifying it. You make sure that you haven't got the bull by the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So we spoke about timing. We spoke about respect. We spoke about, any ideas that you want to have, that you want to put to the other person, put them together like it's a proposal. Make sure that you've got the right time of that, the right place of that. And you've got a really clear kind of return on investment or cost of inaction component to what you want to do. And respect the other person's viewpoint, in that if we talk about money, for example, somebody goes, partner A goes to partner B, I want to do this. Partner B goes, we can't afford it. Maybe the answer to partner B is go, okay, let me show that I want to do this, and let me show you how we can afford it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or let partner B, let me show you why we can't afford it now, but if we do this, we'll be able to afford it in 3 months' time or 2 months' time, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I want to put a challenge out there for everybody, for our listeners. If you're listening to this and your partner is not, share this with your partner and do a check-in of, how are they? How are they going this week? And also, what can you guys do together to acknowledge how the other partner is doing? And do a list about how that is. Are you all in alignment with the tasks and your communication styles? Does one partner want things to be communicated a little bit different? And when do you want that to be communicated?
Yep.
So, share this with your partner and have a chat together about that.
Book in that kind of relational check-in. Because I think the thing about being life partners and business partners is that they're not just your co-founder or your partner in the business, but they can actually be your compass. Yep. And you can be each other's compass. And that'll help you stick to true north, which we'll talk about in another episode.
Yep. Wonderful.
Awesome. Caroline, great to see us having these chats again. If you are in business with your life partner, a family member, and you are struggling with some of these sorts of challenges between work and home, then we'd love to hear more from you. So please subscribe to the podcast so the latest episodes come straight to you wherever you listen to podcasts. Like the podcast. More importantly, share it. If you're listening to this and you've got a business partner who's your life partner and they don't listen to it, get them to listen to it so that you guys are all on the same page. If you know somebody else in business, in a partnership, get them to share the podcast with them is where I was going. Share the podcast with them as well. And lastly, on our socials, if you've got some topic that you'd like to hear us discuss, you'd like to get our experience of being in business as life partners and business partners in a number of businesses, very successful businesses over the last 15 years, pop a comment into our socials and we'd love to be able to help you out with that. Between now and the next episode, thanks, Caroline. Please make sure you spend time with those who matter most.